And we're currently live on Twitch, and we are live on X, and we are live on Kick, and YouTube is lagging.
Yeah.
YouTube will catch up, right? Hello,
No
BK!
idea.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I am okay. We've been
Ready for
kind of.
this?
I hope so. We took a long break. It's kind of crazy how winter just made everybody sick, but now we're back. Hopefully, for a
Yep.
very long time, so
Yep.
that we can
Yes.
all learn the Bible again. Because we cut off like in the middle of.
Yeah.
See, we cut off in the middle
Yes.
of. Yes?
Yes. Learning the Bible again. I'm loving it. Let's do
Yay.
it. But
So
what?
we left off at the beginning of Abram's story. Um, he
Okay.
ended up like getting some fancy favor and then getting kicked out because he had his wife like pose as a single woman and bad things were happening to the king or whatever he was of that region, and then the king found out that she was actually married, and he was like GTFO, and he kicked out Abram but gave him lots of stuff because he didn't want to be cursed by God. Do you remember that much?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that much too, which is why I told it the way I did. So, where we're picking up is chapter 16 with Hagar and Ishmael. We're currently reading out of the New International Version of the Bible. And I'll read the chapter first, and then we'll go over the notes from our study companion. That sound good?
Sounds good to me. I'm excited. Let's do
Yay!
it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, reading uh, Hagar and Ishmael of chapter 16, verse 1. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go, sleep with my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her." Abram agreed to what Sarai said. Ugh. So after Abram, having been living in Canaan for 10 years, Sarai, his wife, took her Egyptian slave Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. So I guess like a second wife. Did she get a choice? Probably not.
Oh.
He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Yeah, I would too. When Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my slave in your arms, and now she knows she is pregnant, and she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me." This is weird. "Your slave is in your hands," Abram said. "Do with her whatever you think best." Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now pregnant, and you will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. Ugh. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him." Sounds like a fighter. "And he will live in hostility towards all his brothers." Oh boy. She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. "You are the God who sees me." For she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." That is why we will that is why the well was called Bir Lahai Roy. It is still there between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. And I believe that's the full chapter. Double check. Yep. So that is all of chapter 16. It sounds like woman drama. I think Sarai made a
Mhm.
bad decision. Here, sleep with my slave. Oh, okay. Wait, I'm not happy with this decision. Is that the whole mentality you got?
Yeah.
Don't make bad decisions. Okay, so the notes from our handy dandy study Bible starts with chapter 16, verse 2. So let me get us back to verse 2. That way we can review it. So, explaining this verse 2, it says, build a family through her. So, the slave. The solution proposed by Sarai is not as shocking or as outlandish as it would seem to us today. In the ancient world, barrenness was a catastrophe because one of the primary roles of the family was to produce the next generation. The survival of the family line was of the highest value, and it depended on producing progeny. Whatever threat a second wife might pose to harmony in the family paled in comparison to the necessity of an heir being produced. Marriage contracts of the ancient world therefore anticipated the possibility of barrenness and at times specifically dictated a course of action. Solutions ranged from serial monogamy, as in divorcing the barren wife to take another, presumably fertile bride, joy, to polygamy, even more so, taking a second wife of equal status, to polycoity, the addition of handmaids or concubines for the purpose of producing an heir, to adoption. The third option is the one pursued here. This attempted remedy is consistent with contemporary practice as a strategy for heirship. So the third solution was not polygamy, but the polycoity. So basically, the slave was going to be a handmaiden to get pregnant and bear a child without actually becoming a wife. This option was often more attractive because if the wife were divorced, there would be an economic impact on the family. She took her marriage fund or dowry with her. Oh, she was the one with the money. Concubines bring no dowry, only their fertility to the family. A marriage contract from the town of Nuzi a few centuries after the patriarchal period illustrates the practice. If, and this is a quote, if Gilmenu bears children, Shenima shall not take another wife. But if Gilmenu fails to bear children, Gilmenu shall get for Shemina a woman from the Lulu country, in other words, a slave girl, as concubine. In that case, Gilmenu herself shall, excuse me, I still got a bit of a cough, still shall have authority over the offspring. So the slave girl doesn't get authority over her own children. It is the wife that gets authority over the children. An old Assyrian marriage contract closer to the time of the patriarchs reflects a similar solution to infertility. It is therefore plausible that Sarai is simply invoking the terms of their marriage contract. All right. So that is the explanation of why they got like a concubine to or handmaiden to bear a child. Still kind of cringy. Any comments before I get to the next note? Oh.
No, I mean, it's cringy. That's
I'm
that's
glad we
it.
don't live. Yeah, I'm glad we don't live in those times. The next note is about the angel of the Lord from verse 7. So, in the ancient world, direct communication between important parties was a rarity. Diplomatic and political exchange normally required the use of an intermediary, whose function was similar to that of ambassadors today. The messenger who served as the intermediary was a fully vested representative of the party he represented. He spoke for that party and with the authority of that party. He was accorded the same treatment as that party would enjoy were he there in person. While this was standard protocol, there was no confusion about the person's identity. This explains how the angel in this chapter can comfortably use the first person to convey what God will do, as shown in verse 10. When official words are spoken by the representative, everyone understands that he is not speaking for himself, but is merely conveying the words, opinions, policies, and decisions of his liege. So in Ugaritic literature, when Baal sends messengers to Mot, the messengers use first-person forms of speech. Such usage indicates that the messengers are not only envoys of the god, but actually embody the power of the deity who sent them. So that's interesting. Basically, the angel was working as a mouthpiece of the Lord. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, we finished chapter 16. Do you have it in you to learn about the covenant of circumcision?
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. We'll move on to the next chapter then. Not sure I'm excited, but oh, look, the color changed. I don't know how I did that. Oh, well, we'll move on. So we, what? Oh no, no, I don't want an ad. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
All right. So now we're to Genesis chapter 17. We get to learn about the covenant of circumcision. That's exciting. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm a little well, I don't want to think about it too much. Hopefully, the covenant part is interesting.
It sounds painful, so yes, let's find out why.
Makes me glad I didn't have to deal with it. All right, so verse 1.
Yeah.
Actually, let me get a sip of water. Verse 1.
Uh,
What? Sorry.
yes.
When Abram
Nothing.
was, all right. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord, so how old was his other son? He was like 80 something. The Lord appeared to him and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me faithfully and be blameless. Okay. When I make my covenant between me and you, and will greatly then I will make my covenant between me and you, and will greatly increase your numbers. Abram fell face down, and God said to him, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham. And for I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful. I will make nations come from you. I will establish my covenant as everlasting covenant between me and your descendants.
You're breaking up.
No, I don't want to break up. Am I better now? Where did I cut off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, just start at 6.
All right. I
I
will
will
make
make
you
you very
very
fruitful.
fruitful. Fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. The whole land of Canaan, where you now reside as a foreigner, I will give as an everlasting possession to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their God. Screw it up. Then God said to Abraham, As for you, you must keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you for the generations to come. This is my covenant with you and your descendants after you, the covenant you are to keep. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You are to undergo circumcision, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household or bought with money from a foreigner, those who are not your offspring. That's interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
any slaves and servants, you get the snippies. Whether born in your household or bought with your money, they must be circumcised. I now understand why in the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail that when they recited the grenade that there was a lot of redundancy. My covenant
You
in
make
your
me sad.
Do I? I'm sorry.
Just a flesh wound.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh,
It's
that's
just a
why.
flesh
Oh,
wound.
yeah, it's circumcised. It's
Sorry, I'm
circumcision.
sorry. Don't worry, it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, let's tell all the boys that. My covenant in your flesh is to be an everlasting covenant. Well, yeah, you can't reverse that. Any uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
Gosh, you said cut off, and I got scared for a second.
Oh, I bet a
I
lot of
mean,
people
seriously,
are.
I was like, I heard cut off, and I was like, oh no. Uh, uh, ah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people crossed their legs just now.
Mm,
Anyway, verse 15, God said to Abraham, as for Sarai your wife, you are to no longer call her Sarai, her name will be Sarah. I will bless her and will surely give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. Kings of people will come from her. Abraham fell face down. He laughed and said to himself,
bloodlines.
what? Oh, yeah, bloodlines.
Bloodlines.
Well, there's more. I think there's more genealogy coming up, which will be fun. But hopefully not
Yeah.
for a while. So Abraham fell face down. He laughed and said to himself, will a son be born to a man 100 years old? Will Sarah bear a child at the age of 90? Ooh, she
Yeah.
beyond.
That does sound crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's
We
part of
can
the
play
miracle.
hide and seek at that age with the kids.
Now,
No.
my question is like, with
Can't
as
play
long as these people,
football or
what?
soccer or whatever. You can't do anything when you're 90 years old and you have a kid. Oh my goodness. Gonna hobble around with this child? I don't know how the
Well,
ages worked back then, but
that's the thing
it's
I'm
just
questioning.
mind blowing. Hundreds of
Because
years.
yeah, you got the men that were living like 200, 300 years, so is 90 for just
900
maybe,
and 1,000 years. Was
yeah,
Noah? Like, how old was Noah? I
I don't
I forget,
remember.
but
I know the
yeah.
earliest ones lived for closer to like a millennium, but like the newer, younger generations were closer to like 300 years, maybe 500.
Mhm.
Like it seemed to drop as we went through all those names. But like the lady, would she be like in her 50s comparison to us? I don't know. Maybe the notes will talk about it, but I
I
doubt
don't
it
know.
because nobody knows.
It it does
All we know
sound
is she's
old
old.
though, but
Yeah, it's extra old for us. She'd be like squinting, hunched over with a walker. But maybe she was like in her 50s and just past menopause. Who knows? But all we know is like
yeah.
it's implied that she's already had menopause and is no longer fertile. That's the implication at verse
Yeah.
17.
Mm,
So, moving on to verse 18, the big miracle going on. And Abraham said to God, if only Ishmael might live under your blessing. That's the son from the concubine. Then God said, yes, but your
mhm.
wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will finish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful and will greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation. But my covenant, I will.
That's cool.
Yeah, though, didn't he also say that Ishmael was going to be like fisticuff guy?
What?
Isn't that the guy that
I
gets
don't
into
know what
fights
you
all the
mean.
time? Fisticuffs is like fighting,
Oh.
punching,
Um,
boxing. The
yeah, I
last
guess so.
last chapter, I think had him. Let me go back. We can just look. Name
Guess
him
we are
Ishmael.
studying it.
We will. Why did it change colors? Oh well. He will be a
He's a
wild donkey of a
wild
man.
donkey man. That's right.
Another ad.
He's a wild donkey man.
Live in hostility towards all of his brothers. It's making me think of a certain group, but I won't say. We are studying history and Bible right now. So he's Mr. Fisticuffs. He wants to get in box fights with everybody, and apparently is very aggressive, and everybody hates him. He hates everybody and everybody hates him. Or, you know, butts
Okay.
heads. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So he's kind
Ishmael.
of like a Karen.
One that speaks with his fists. I guess so. So verse 20. That's the same Ishmael. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful, and it will greatly increase his numbers, which is, he's the fighting guy. He will be the father of 12
Yeah.
rulers, and I will make him into a great nation. This just has me wondering what kind of conflicts is coming from this. But my covenant I will
Mm.
establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year. Ooh, so she's going to be pregnant in a couple months. When he had finished speaking with Abraham, God went up from him. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and all those born in his household or bought with his money, every male in his household, and circumcised them as God told him. That was a sad day. I wonder if they had like booze to help with the pain.
Yeah.
Abraham Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised. Oh. And his son Ishmael was 13. Abraham and his son Ishmael were both circumcised that very day. And every male in Abraham's household, including those born in his household or bought from a foreigner, was circumcised with him. So now we've established the circumcision covenant where all men have to be circumcised as part of the covenant in order to become part of this very fruitful nation.
It's kind of a weird thing, actually. I didn't know this, but it's like to in order to show like your faithfulness and your covenant with God, you literally have to agree to have the probably the most sensitive spot on the
Ooh,
man's body,
yeah.
you know, um
Snip, snip.
uh yeah, it's just instead of your God, you could have just created
Yeah.
the
Well, it
you
also
could have just
reminds me.
made it so that it didn't need to be
Uh,
circumcised, but instead you said, "Well, I think I'll use this as
I
a way to prove like the covenant." It's just kind of
well, think of this.
yikes.
Is this where the term "skin in the game" comes from?
OMG. No, you didn't. You did
I
not.
did.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's where my
We're doing
brain went.
Bible study.
Well, I mean that's what it is.
Oh, I
Circumstantial.
know, but it's
Just a flesh
just,
wound.
But yeah, like you gotta have skin in the game in this covenant, I guess. But I don't know if it's actually a pun or not, though.
yeah. It's just this, I guess after where I mean it proves your covenant.
Yeah.
It's just I never knew this, so that's why I'm stumbling over it.
Oh,
Uh I had no idea.
it,
What are
it
you gonna
also
do? Bleed on me? I'm
yes.
invincible!
But it kind of reminds me like the Assassin's Creed games and what's the
Uh-huh.
other thing like John Wick. When they had that
Yeah.
hidden brotherhood or whatever, and when
Mhm.
John Wick went back into the circle of the table or whatever that group was, he had to give his finger over.
Mhm.
And in the Assassin's Creed, like the main character sacrifices a finger basically to show that he's a member of that group, and then they can use like the blade or whatever. But it's kind of I don't know if you call it a trope or what, but you see it in some modern
Yeah.
culture references too. So I wonder if it kind of harkens back to like this thing with the circumcision being part of a covenant or agreement between an individual and the higher order, I
And
guess you could
God.
say. Yeah. So I find
Yeah.
it fascinating in that kind of lens.
Yeah.
Want to cover the notes now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have notes starting from verse 1 about God Almighty. So translates the epithet, or God Almighty translates the epithet El Shaddai. Much controversy surrounds the meaning of the name El Shaddai. One Ugaritic text refers to El of the field, while Akkadian refers to the Lord of the mountain or steppe. Is it step or steep? I always say step.
I
Though
say
these,
steep, so we cover
oh,
the bases this way.
so it's both. All right, anything
I don't know.
goes. Though
You know
these,
me though. I'm not very good with English.
uh,
Me.
I'm used to reading, not saying, so that's my problem.
It's my problem too. What was the one thing I said? We were gaming and was it Bizarre or Brazier or something? I don't remember,
Yeah,
but you guys never let
brazier.
me live that down. Oh yeah,
Let the
Brazier.
brazier, and you kept calling it brazier, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways,
Anyway,
sorry.
back to the notes about the God Almighty and the
Yes.
translation of El Shaddai. Apparently, nobody really knows. So, though these may be descriptions rather than divine epithets, the only extra biblical use of the divine epithet occurs in the Balaam text of Deir Allah, where the Shedin
Mm.
are the beings of the heavenly council. So, I guess that's a note
What?
where it's
Never
about the
heard of them.
translation. Oh, me neither. And it's weird. It's like SHDYN. Shedin.
Or
But
beans?
they are beings of the heavenly council.
Beans.
Beans! Yes,
Beans.
they were legumes.
What kind of beans? No, not legumes. But yes,
Jelly beans!
we lump everything. Beans, beans, and beans. But yeah, seriously, what? I've never heard of these beans.
Me
I
neither.
wonder, are they ancient beans
I guess.
from before?
They're,
Or I,
I don't know.
I
This is
have so
from
many
the
questions. Okay,
Balaam text of
okay.
Deir Allah, where the Shedin are the beings of the heavenly council. So it's not necessarily a biblical reference. It's from another book
Gotcha.
from that region and time period. But
Okay.
anyway, that note is about the whole why they chose the phrase God Almighty and why some people might have a bone to pick about it. So it's the
Uh,
translation that
yeah.
the authors of the New International Version decide to go with. And if anything, it's kind of like a disclaimer, like, don't hate us. We just went with
Right.
what works. So the next note is about verse 5. And the change of name from Abram to Abraham. So personal names in the ancient world provided much more than a moniker. Sometimes they preserved recognition of a distinguishing characteristic or reflected circumstances at the time of the person's birth. Often they made statements about deity, such as Isaiah equals Yahweh saves. Names generally offered information at some level about the person's identity, and in a variety of ways, names were believed to be intertwined with a person's destiny. Ooh, fancy. I was just named after an actress.
So crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of meaning. Well, it's like the Native tribes of America. Didn't they name their children after things that mattered to them?
Yes.
So, like, there's more meaning in the names back then than I think now. Now we just pick what's pretty.
Yeah.
All right. So, knowing a person's name created a relationship with that person. In other words, the person was further known by knowing the name. Oh. So, knowing a person's name also provided potential power over the person, most radically when used in spells or hexes. Don't do that. The naming of a person was one of the most dramatic impositions of authority over another individual. since the name of a person was believed to be intertwined with their destiny. To name a person meant that you controlled their destiny and directed their destiny. In this verse, it is not that God is demonstrating his authority over Abram, though the fact that he can change his name is not insignificant. But more important, he is designating Abram's destiny to be the father of a multitude. The name Abram meant the father is exalted. Reference to father in personal names usually indicated veneration of an ancestor. So this name looked to the past. His new name, Abraham, designates him as the significant ancestor as it looks to the future generations yet to be born. That's kind of cool. And then we have a whole section about circumcision. Oh my gosh. There's even a picture in this book that depicts it as a relief on the wall. That is, uh, I'm not interested in looking too close at that. Oh. All right. You ready to hear more about circumcision as a subject?
Wait, hold up. Hold
What?
up. Hold on.
Okay. You want to talk about the name thing first?
It has, well, okay. What you said, it looks, there's more coming about it, and it looks like a leaf. I
No, a
don't
relief.
know what to say.
Carved relief. And there's a picture of a carving on the wall. From
Oh,
It's called a
okay.
relief in the tomb of
Gotcha.
Ankh-Morpork at Saqqara, depicting a priest performing a ritual circumcision.
Okay. Because what I'm looking at on the screen isn't matching, so I figure you're
Right.
looking at your book, right?
Yes, these are
Okay.
notes. These are no longer.
Got it.
Yes, which is why
I
I
was just
tried.
like, I don't see the picture. Okay.
Well, yeah, you don't see the picture
I,
because I'd have to snap a
I'm
picture, but
Dodo.
it's okay. I don't think you'd want to look anyway. It's kind of freaky. Looks like
No,
there's some
I don't.
stretching going on.
Oh no, come on, that's enough. Nope, 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 no.
All right, let's just go to the
Absolutely
topic.
no.
At least the topic's probably
Okay.
PG, so let's go. Let's go!
And there was much rejoicing.
Yay! So
Yeah.
circumcision is well known in the ancient Near East from as early as the 4th millennium BC, though the details of its practice and its significance vary from culture to culture. Circumcision was practiced in the ancient Near East by many peoples. The Egyptians practiced circumcision as early as the 3rd millennium BC. West Semitic peoples, Israelites, Ammonites, Moabites, and the Edomites performed circumcision. Eastern Semitic peoples did not, such as the Assyrians, Babylonians, Akkadians, nor did the Philistines, an Aegean or Greek people. Anthropological studies have suggested that the rite always has to do with at least one of 4 basic themes. So we have fertility, virility, maturity, and genealogy. I always thought fertility and virility were similar, but I guess not. Maybe like one's female, one's male. Study of Egyptian mummies demonstrates that the surgical technique in Egypt differed from that used by the Israelites. While the Hebrews, oh boy, amputated the prepuce of the penis, the Egyptians merely incised the foreskin and so exposed the glans penis. I don't know what this means and I don't want to. Egyptians were not circumcised as
Just
children.
a flesh wound.
Yes, it's all flesh wounds. Ugh. But in either the prenuptial or puberty rites. So Egyptians were not circumcised as children, but either in prenuptial or puberty rites. The common denominator, however, is that it appears to be a rite of passage, giving new identity to the one circumcised and incorporating him into a particular group. Evidence from the
So,
Levant. What?
circumcision, I always thought it was um for like some sort of a different reason. I just didn't know.
Like
I'm not gonna
hygiene?
say what, but yeah, like maybe it was a hygienic thing. I didn't know that it was actually like basically your I didn't know that it was basically a sign of being, I guess faithful to God, would you say?
Yeah.
Like how do you word that? Like it just you're saying it how it's just like prevalent in some areas and not in others.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah. And the method,
So,
like, apparently means different things in different places, whatever that
yeah.
description meant. I don't want
Mhm.
to think too much about it because I'm going to get grossed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is fascinating, and like in modern society, they basically say it's like a hygiene thing, so that you're less likely to
Yeah,
get infections and stuff from cleanliness
right.
or lack of. Blech. All right, back to the rest of
This
the circumcision
yeah.
topic.
It kind of, I mean, this is what happens when you're raised in a family that, doesn't do anything religious. You
Yeah.
just don't know. You just take the word of like, oh, okay, it was just a hygiene thing. Like you have no idea that it's actually a lot more to it unless you um are willing to learn and read about it.
Oh yeah.
You just go by hearsay.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is, and apparently there's a lot of meaning in just about everything, which is also fascinating. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know about the significance of names. I was just like, oh, he got a new name. Why? Okay, we're moving on. Sure.
Mhm.
It's the difference between us studying ourselves and just following along with my childhood Bible studies at church. Like it wasn't really a Bible study. It was just cover some verses and then move on after you touch on a theme.
Yeah, I was raised like in a household where there was just nothing. There was no going to church, no mention of anything religious. So anything that I learned was from outside my family, which would mean like somebody approaches you, come to church and we get and gives, you a handful of candy. If you come to church, you'll get all this candy. That used to be the thing when I was little. Oh, okay. So all the kids would pile onto the bus to go to the church because they knew they were going to get a toy or candy. It's like
Well,
lured there. And it was very
come
strange. That
here,
was
little
like my
child.
first, yeah,
I
that
have
was like my first
sweets.
interaction with it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is weird. A little creepy, honestly. It's like,
I
I
know
was
it
as a
does
kid
sound
I was
creepy,
raised.
but
Yeah, I know, but like as a kid,
yeah.
don't take candy from strangers. Don't follow anybody to their house or van or whatever. And you're like, yeah, these church people gave me candy. They told me
My
to come here.
upbringing is a prime example of why the country is such a hot mess today. We need to be more, I mean, this is my opinion, but I mean, it's a god, there's so many godless people. Like we need to get back to that.
Yeah, or at least be
Don't get me
thoughtful.
off
Yeah,
my Yeah, at least be thoughtful. I mean, if you raise people with nothing, no religion, no anything, I mean, this is what you're gonna get.
yeah,
You're gonna get a lot of conflict and stuff. Uh, and a lot of misinterpretation, I think, too. So,
yeah. Ready to finish this subject? And then we will have fulfilled an
yes.
hour of Bible study, of melting our brains with learning. All right, so continuing the circumcision subject, evidence from the Levant comes
Hmm.
as early as bronze figurines from the Amuk Valley from the early 3rd millennium BC. An ivory figurine from Megiddo from this mid 2nd millennium BC shows Canaanite prisoners who are circumcised. Southern Mesopotamia shows no evidence of this practice, nor is any Akkadian term known for the practice. The absence of such
Hmm.
evidence is significant since Assyrian and Babylonian medical texts are available in abundance. Abraham is therefore aware of the practice from living in Canaan and visiting Egypt, rather than from his roots in Mesopotamia. Since Ishmael is 13 years old at this time, Abraham may even have been wondering whether it was a practice that would characterize this new family of his. In Genesis 17, which was when we discovered circumcision, circumcision is retained as a rite of passage, but one associated with the identity in the covenant. In light of today's concerns with gender issues, some have wondered why the sign of the covenant should be something that marks only males. Two cultural issues may offer an explanation. First is patrilineal descent and the identity in the community. The concept of patrilineal descent, which I think is when you get your dad's last name, not your mom's, results in males being considered the representatives of the clan and the ones through whom the clan identity was preserved, such as the wife took on the tribal and clan identity of her husband. Secondly, individuals found their identity more in the clan and the community than in a concept of self, so group identity. Decisions and commitments were made by the family and clan more often than by the individual. The rite of passage represented in circumcision marked each male as entering a clan committed to the covenant, a commitment that he would then have the responsibility to maintain. If this logic holds, circumcision would not focus on individual participation in the covenant as much as on continuing communal participation. The community is structured around patrilineal descent, so the sign on the males marks the corporate commitment of the clan from generation to generation. That is interesting, and that is the end of the circumcision significance. And we have covered 2 chapters in an hour, and I think we learned quite a bit. Like, it's funny that the chapters themselves are actually quite quick to get through, but the information that is relevant to the time period and culture is quite in depth, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's very eye-opening.
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to say earlier, that when I made the comment about more people need to learn about it, I just mean like it's just eye-opening, and you should learn about it instead of just
I agree.
uh
Like, one of the problems that we have as a modern society is we tend to look at history with our modern views rather than try to meet history where
exactly.
it stood. And I think understanding
Mhm.
history with the context that was there at the time is a lot more enlightening than just trying to push your own modern values on what happened back then. So, like,
Mhm.
the whole marriage contract thing that they kind of touched on, where a barren wife was pretty common. Well, that explains why a man might have more than one wife. Now we have, fertility isn't as big of an issue now as it was back then. And probably a lot of it has to do with the availability of food so that we can actually afford to be fertile.
Right.
But yeah, that explains that even though it's cringy for us now. Would it be cringy back then? Probably not because it was
No.
survival. If you couldn't,
Standard.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you couldn't have kids, you were,
It
your
seemed
clan
more
dies out.
right. It seemed definitely it's more important that your family line survives instead of thinking like about yourself
Yeah.
only, like, I don't feel like having kids. I don't want to put the time in. It's going to be too much work. It's going to be too painful.
Well,
None
that's a
of this
modern
mattered
take.
then. It was like it was imperative to like keep your family line going, even if you
Yeah.
brought in, uh, concubines, as you said,
Yeah.
whatever it took to keep the family going.
Yeah. And like
Interesting. It was just
also,
a lot more important. It seems like there is not enough importance in placed on that nowadays.
yeah, and the community back then, like they were talking about clans. So that's like a huge
Yeah.
family unit. So you needed to keep having children and family because you might have older cousins, aunts, grandparents that they've relied on the clan. That's the communal part to basically keep the people, have food, shelter, safety. When you get too old, you need children that are strong enough to protect you. Otherwise, you're just going to be the victim of whoever decides to come beat you up and take your stuff. So it makes a lot of sense that
It
continuing the
does.
lineage is extremely important in order to keep that population of people healthy, alive, and not destitute.
Mhm.
You got to be able to protect your stuff,
Yeah.
especially back then. So yeah, it makes sense. Cringy for us, but uh, necessary for survival for them. Anything else
Yeah.
that stuck out for you, or you think we're good to close up?
I think we're good to close up. It was interesting getting back to the Bible.
Yeah, it's a good
Um
section to come
it
back
was an
on.
interesting opening. Yeah.
So
Every
just
time we do this though, I walk away like with the brain exploding emoji basically going on.
that's good,
So,
right?
I
That
love
means it's
it.
interesting. You
Yeah.
learn stuff and you're pondering things. So next
Yes.
next Bible study, we're going to be discovering whatever the
Wait,
three visitors are. What? I thought I would
wait.
give like a little preview.
Yeah, what were they called? The
What?
Shinnans?
Oh, from the other, like, it's not from the Bible itself. It's from a different text, but I will spell it to you as soon as I find it.
Yeah, I was gonna
S
ask Rock to tell me about those. What are they called?
Shadin. Shdyn like Nancy. Sh like shush. Byn.
Shdyan?
N. No. Shdyn like Nancy or 9.
Alright.
No, you gonna tell us what Shadin is before we sign
Uh,
out?
oh, no, I mean, we don't have to
Oh,
do that on live, but yeah, I wanted to ask Rock to fill me in on these 3
all right.
beans because I don't know what these beans are. Are they beans, or
Heavenly.
beans?
I don't know. But I guess other people have to do their own homework then if we're signing off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It was a fun Bible study. Thanks for watching. Whoever decided to watch with us, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, viewer that was out there watching. We appreciate you.
We will chat later, BK. Bye
Bye
for
for
now.
now.
Yeah, bye for now.